Hi, Diana.
Hi, Pam.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are
I'm
you?
I'm doing good. Everyone, I would like to welcome you to Gigi and the 561, as well as my guest today, Diana Brandenberg, who hails from Wichita Falls, but currently has lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a few years. So welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. I'm honored that you asked me to be on your show.
Well, we're so happy that you're here. You're, as you know, one of my favorite people for quite a while now.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Thank you. We have so much to cover today, and I'm not sure how much of it we'll get through because you're busy. You are a busy young woman, very, very busy.
Yes.
Before we dive in to all about you, I do want to mention that we are sitting here doing this podcast today when it's a very sad day in our country. And, we don't need to belabor that, but
exactly.
It is.
I totally acknowledge that. It's been a very dark couple of days, and I've watched it live on television. I cried. It's just very, very sad right now, and hopefully we'll get through this in warp speed, because we need it as a country.
Yeah, we do. You're right. It is. On the one hand, it's shocking. I almost don't have words. But
yeah, exactly.
But the beautiful thing to me as an American was I woke up at 4, a little after 4, because Gary and I tried to stay up for the certification of the incoming administration. But when they went to break on Pennsylvania, then we just said, well, but then I woke up at 4 and it was done deal, and that's what the country's about. So that's what we can feel good about today.
Exactly.
Democracy prevailed. Okay,
exactly.
Now I have so many things, because you are fascinating and beautiful, I must say,
sweet.
young woman.
Thank you so much.
have a very vast history and lots of experience in marketing and event planning and events, and it's so much. And we're going to dive into all that. But your mom. I want to start with your mom, who helped with your dad. Brought you into this world. But your mother was originally from Germany.
That's right. My mom actually was born and raised in Germany, the southern region, specifically, if everyone knows about Bavaria.
Oh, of course.
Yes, beautiful Bavaria, a little town right outside of Munich. I always spell out the name because it's so cute. It's Bad Würstel is the name of the town. And it's just a beautiful touristy kind of town now. It's a village, and she actually was raised from a child to age 21, and then she married a military man who is not my father. She married her first husband, and her first husband brought her to the United States, and they lived in New York for a while. Then they moved down to New Mexico because he was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And but from there, she ended up in Wichita Falls, and that is where I was born. But my mom actually has 4 kids altogether. So I have 2 older sisters and 1 older brother. And 2 of them were from her first husband, and my closer sister, and I are from my dad, I've got him giving me a quick nutshell version of this. But my dad is from Tennessee, and he actually was stationed in Wichita Falls as well. So they met each other working at the hospital.
Your mom was a nurse, isn't that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she worked at the hospital, the Wichita Falls, I think at the time, what was it called? It became United Regional Hospital, and I've gone blank. I think it was called something different before. But I was actually born in that hospital too, and so was my sister. No, I take that back. Gosh, it would be nice if I remembered where I was born. But I actually was born at the base hospital, now that I come to think about it. Shepherd Air Force Base.
Okay.
The base in Wichita Falls that most people, if they're familiar with military bases, would know of that one.
Tell us, though, about Wichita Falls. Is there really? Now, Wichita Falls is kind of, it's north and a little bit west, right, of Dallas. Isn't that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think most people that I've ever met, they have gone through Wichita Falls on their way to Colorado. So if you've ever gone to Colorado from anywhere, in our region, DFW and further east, you go through this little town called Wichita Falls. And when I was a child, now I was born in 71, so all through
You're killing me with that date. Yeah.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Well, I'm going to turn 50 in February. I know.
No ages are allowed. No, stop.
I know.
Stop.
I don't even know why I said that. Like, it's such a great number. It's kind of crazy. I can't even fathom it. I remember when I was a teenager, I used to write down 2021. How old will I be? Well, here I am. But when you go through, so anyway, in the 70s, I remember there was never a falls, and we didn't even know, like, Wichita Falls. Do we have a falls? No, we don't have a falls. And then through the years, I think in the 80s, somebody thought it was a neat fundraiser to put the falls back in Wichita Falls. So there was a big local drive to get a falls put in our city, and they picked a spot. And they added these falls. The falls actually don't fall out of any water. They just are an automatic kind of electronic falls that goes into a small pond, It's really cute.
So they put the falls back in Wichita Falls. I love that.
And that was the slogan. That was actually the slogan. Put the falls back in Wichita Falls. And also a history, somebody once told me that the name of the town comes from an Indian, and he fell. So that was another funny thing. They were like, "Oh, Wichita Falls," that he fell.
So it was about an actual fall. I had no idea. I had no idea. You are enlightening me beyond beyond words. Oh, that is great. But then you have spent some of your career in marketing and you have a vast resume.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly. I went from I graduated with a bachelor's degree in marketing in Wichita Falls, Midwestern State University, our university in town, and then I worked for a newspaper for a couple of years in Wichita Falls, the Times Record News, and I was actually the marketing and promotions manager. Okay. And I did that, and I was so excited to be in that field. You have no idea. Newspaper was really where it was at for me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I thought, this is the way I'm going. And then I moved. I got a job in Dallas. It's kind of funny how I found that job. I decided to leave the Times Record News and try to go to Dallas Morning News, where you and I met.
Right.
Incidentally.
That's right.
So I called up the marketing director. I remember this is a unique way of getting a job, but I highly recommend it. It kind of worked for me. I called up their marketing director and I said, I'm really interested in working at the Dallas Morning News. Can I come down and meet you? And he was kind of taken aback.
Was this Ty Cobb?
Yes,
Ty?
It was
yeah.
Ty.
Okay.
And I said, you guys need anybody, I would love to come interview. And then I did, and I met Ty, and lo and behold, they hired me, and I moved from Wichita Falls, and that was my beginning of living in the DFW area. And so
I'm so glad you did, because
that
that was a very nice point of my life, meeting you there and working together. As we did at the Dallas Morning News. It was a really special time.
Yes.
It really was.
Oh, it sure was. And
yeah.
It was, I moved in 2000, so gosh, I can't believe it's already been 21 years.
Isn't it? Wow.
I remember all these people like you and, just real sweet people that I enjoyed the friendship and time there together. Wonderful.
It really was wonderful. I mean, it was on every level. I have nothing but fantastic memories, and it was a great career. It was a great place to have a career. So anyway,
Exactly.
but back to you. You are a writer, and I love the name of your little book. Tell us Tell us all about that.
Well, my book happened actually after I had kids. I decided, and that was, 2008 and 2010, or when I gave birth to my two little boys. They are now 12 and 10. And then, of course, before that, I met my husband, and there you go. We got married and had kids. But I was enlightened by the whole feeling of being a mom and just wanting to share good advice and loving, values with my children. And then I just have the story from my 20s that I've always been toying around with making it a children's book. It's actually a true story because the book I wrote is called Finding Hope, and it's about finding a stray dog that needed somebody to take care of her and give her the help that she needed. And I adapted the story to be like a little girl finding the dog instead of me, like I did when I was in my 20s. So the story is exactly like me finding the dog and, back in the 90s or whenever. I don't remember the year. But it's a little girl. I called her Lauren. She's the one who does all the right things. And, the story ends up very heartwarming and shares how compassionate people can be when the time arises. And hopefully we'll teach people to be compassionate and loving with animals, with other people. Just that compassion is needed more than ever.
It sure is. I could not agree more. I love that. And before we stop the podcast at the end, we'll talk about how to get that sweet book.
Oh, thank you.
You live that life right now. I know that you do. Just recently, I know you a while back you found little Waffles. How's Waffles, your dog? Is everything good there?
Everything's great. He's actually getting a little older. He's probably 10 or 11, and he's a wonderful dog. Somebody found him on Facebook. They actually stuck a picture of him up on Facebook that he had been dumped by somebody. And it was one of those really sad stories. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm going to get this dog. Just no question. And that same day, he came home with me. And we've been. I
love that. He's very cute too. He is very cute. And but just recently, you added Luna to your pack.
Yes, to my little pack. I mean, we've got a lot of people ask me how many animals I have, and I pretty much tell them I'm an animal sanctuary. Okay, my house is basically a sanctuary. But I have Luna. She was a kitten that was just stranded from her litter somehow, and she was in a bush in somebody's yard, and she was crying so loud, and it was just the saddest thing in the world. And my son and I were walking by, and immediately my radar goes off, and I'm like, I'm going to take care of this. And literally just run and scoop her up, and she's been just a wonderful addition, has made this crazy year, last year, 2020, so much more bearable in adding to our quarantine life, because your heart is so huge, and I know you spend so much time. You're a great mom. I mean, you're like the gold standard. And you don't try to tell me no, because you are. I mean, you have Max, who is Maxton is his name, and which I love, and Charlie,
is your youngest one. And wow, are you involved with every aspect of their lives?
Oh gosh, they have. I always tell people that's my number one role. Being mom to Max and Charlie, and they've kind of inspired every single thing I do after they were born. But because I can't work right now, I have Charlie that has Down syndrome, and when he was born, it's been like a constant new life, I guess you could say, one thing after another that kind of has kept me from, say, going back to work at 9 to 5, or for any kind of company. So I've had to get creative with what I do around here, to try to, take care of them and raise my, or make some money. I have to do everything from home. Even before the pandemic, because Charlie's had, and his story, Max, let me just talk about Max too real quick. He actually, Max has ADHD, so that's a little bit of a challenge too. So each of them have their own thing. But when Charlie came along, he was born with a heart defect, and he had to have open heart surgery, 6 months old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was really terrifying. And that was kind of the first thing that was like, oh, no, this is going to be hard to go through. But we went through it, and we came out really great on the other side. These doctors are amazing. Cook's Children's Hospital took.
It's a great hospital, yeah.
Oh, yes. They took incredible care of him. And his, I really think Dr. Tam was his name, is a rock star. I mean, I was just like, you're amazing. The way he's able to put these tiny baby hearts back together.
Unreal. Yeah.
But then Charlie also had something called Guillain-Barré syndrome. It is something that he had as a reaction to either a vaccine or a virus itself. And this happened when he was 18 months old. So we've had kind of a little bit of a roller coaster with his health. We ended up in the hospital for 7 days during that time, when he was 18 months old. And then that, amazingly, the treatment that they gave, we stopped what was happening, and he actually recovered completely.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was like a miracle. I just could not be happier. And then he's been, knock on wood, really, in good health and developing really well for the last few years. Of course, he's 10, so he's in the third grade. He's gone through all these different years in school. My other son is 13, almost 13. He's 12, and he's in the, is he in the seventh grade? Seventh grade. I had to think of that because we're not actually in school. We're still doing the homeschooling for Max.
Yeah, what a challenge!
Oh, yeah.
Now you really love teaching too, and one of the things you teach is sign language, and I really love that. When Kate, our granddaughter, who's just turned 8, when she was a baby, just kind of starting to babble, a little bit. We taught her 2 things. One was milk. Well, there were several things, but the main thing was like milk, that she wanted milk, and then the other one was, of course, I love you, which we still do that. I mean, we still sign I love you. I mean, that's just but I admire
sign,
you to teach it and to really know it well. And you watch these interpreters. We just commented on it. And it's like, how do they keep up?
They're amazing.
They are, but you actually have been a teacher of it.
Bit. Yeah, you know what? I learned on my own. So I can say that I can speak, kind of like speaking German broken, I also speak German. But I feel more confident with German than I do with sign, I have to say, because sign, every now and then I'll be around somebody who can't hear, and they'll be signing, and I'll go, oh my goodness, I sign, and I do a little, and I feel like a baby trying to sign with somebody who really knows what they're doing.
Well, I don't care. Hats off. I think whatever is, I have so much respect for that. But you really do. You do so many things, and you do photography. Are you still doing that? I mean, I know in pandemic times, but
exactly right. I mean, I did it pretty full force. I also do sewing and art. I have just my interests lie on the creative side. And because I can't work out in the real world, I always try to come up with something I can do from home or I can make my hours. But the photography is definitely something I really enjoyed for a few years. I did weddings. I did personal, like family photography. I haven't been marketing it as much because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm,
I
right.
was just held back and I also have Charlie with me, so it's just pretty much impossible for me to go and have him with me and all that. So I've just kind of put that on hold, and maybe I'll pick that up again after we all get vaccinated and the numbers start going down.
Yeah,
But,
her photography, if you want to look at it, is Diana Brandenberg photography. And when we post your podcast, Gary will be making a page. And so on that page will be how to spell her name, everybody.
Okay.
And so they'll be able to see this beautiful face of yours and that they're hearing your voice and see kind of about your photography. But while you say, you can't work outside the home and a 9 to 5 and all things. And so you try to find things to do around the house. Well, people, let me just tell you about this beautiful young woman. While I'm sitting here, trying to figure out what can I do to get through the pandemic, and then I, twiddle my thumbs for 5 minutes. You're actually doing things. And very, very early on, early on in this pandemic, you, my sweet friend, blew me away because you jumped in there and you started making masks so fast.
You.
But not only did you do that for your Etsy, you have an Etsy site where you do sell them, but that's not how you started. You started by making them to donate, really, to hospitals and stuff.
You are so good. Yes, that is exactly right.
Yeah, let's talk
You've
about
got it all.
that. Hey, I do my research.
You're good. I actually, when this was happening, this is so funny because it was around February, like slightly after my birthday, and I was like, this isn't looking good. I was tracking the virus in China, and I know I was sounding like an alarmist or whatever, but I put it out there. Even I remember going, y'all, this is not the flu. Something's really, I was getting a little bit scared. And so I was on it, and then as soon as spring break happened and then somebody, it was growing in the United States. I remember somebody mentioning masks and they were hard to come by and, all of these things. And so I said, well, get out that sewing machine. Let's see how hard they're to make. And I had a person in the neighborhood who was collecting masks for first responders. So I just jumped in and I said, I can make some. Just send me the pattern or send me the material and I'll get going. And so I started that way and I made about 100 and they just went out. And then after that, I just said, you know what? People are needing them. I got calls. I got texts. People were just like, do you have any more of those masks? And da-da-da-da-da. So then I just said, okay, this is what I need to do right now. I'm going to sew masks. And so that became my, so many hours I logged on that sewing machine. I, just earned my sewing degree. Just crazy. But
now, if people want to buy a mask from you, or if they just want to see your work on Etsy, how do they find it? How do they find you?
Oh, absolutely. I would love that. My Etsy site is called Huggles for the Heart. And it's spelled
Go ahead and spell that. Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Huggles for the heart. Just like, your heart in your chest.
Yeah.
and so, I got that name from my son, Max. He likes to have a huggle, which is a snuggle and a hug.
Oh, that is so cute. Aw.
Yeah. But, I've got a lot of different patterns on there, and I can do custom orders. And I do enjoy making masks, but I know there's so many choices out there now. Old Navy makes like 5 for $12, but mine are, special because I make them from home, not from China.
Yeah. Well, there's something to be said for quality and for, people, we need to support each other's businesses. I have some of your masks and they're wonderful.
Thank you.
And
appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. And your husband is also. Can we? Is it okay with him if we talk about him just for a second?
Absolutely. I'm so proud of him.
It's Clever Us. Is that how you? Am I saying that right?
Oh, it's actually clever.us.
So okay.
It is the website. It's so if they typed in clever and then a period and then US, it will take you right to his website.
Okay.
But it's KLEVR.us.
Okay.
And we actually came up with that name together because he used to own a company called Legare.com or Legare Furniture. And that means Legos in Italian, or like.
Oh, that is
together.
So cool! I didn't.
Cool.
Wow.
Legare. But he used to sell like World Market and different companies like that. Staples bought some of his stuff. But Brock has he's an engineering guy, so he can design like crazy, and he's really detailed. But he came up with furniture that doesn't need any screws or fasteners. They're like giant Legos. We have a coffee table that we put together, and you don't need any nails or anything. And if you need to take it apart, you can lay it all flat, and it goes under a bed or something. It's really cool furniture. It's minimalist in design, but it seems to be pretty popular. But he's focused a lot on desk furniture and things that have to do with office.
Mm-hmm.
But he's open to like custom conference tables, and he's even talking about beds, and he's done shelving. He's really good in his furniture category. But he also has a company right now called I went blank. DFW Print. DFW. He bought this company, and we've taken Clever and kind of merged it with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, DFW Designs or DFW Printing. I'm so sorry that I'm confused on the name. But basically, he works a lot with Lockheed. So he inherited this big company, and they do a lot of individual work with Lockheed.
Oh, that's wow, that's really great. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. We're coming toward the end here to wrap it up, but I do want to ask you if you have any more books. Not that you're have any free time or anything, but do you see a second book on the horizon at all?
Oh, I would love to. I need to figure out the funding. But I honestly, or if somebody wants to publish a book for me, I would love it. I'll be fielding calls. No, I'm just kidding. I would love it. The books I do have in mind definitely deal with rescue and animals. I also have ideas for a children's book regarding my son Charlie.
I think that would be. No, I think that'd be really a great book.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I would too. And also like this pandemic and the times we live in, there's definitely topics that, children are having a hard time understanding, and I would love to try to convey answers for them.
Exactly. Well, I thank you so much for this great chat that we've had and for being a guest here on Gigi in the 561. You've been wonderful, and of course, as I knew you would be, never a question about that. So thank you, and huggles all around to all of your fur babies, your real babies, everybody there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Thank you. Huggles to you, too.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you very much. And everyone, I hope that you have enjoyed my guest today, Diana Brandenberg from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I hope you will take time to go to our website, northpalmbeachlife.com, where there will be a page for Diana and others that we are doing podcasts with, but much, much more than that, because although 561 is my area code here in the Palm Beaches, we talk about a lot more. Same thing with the website. So we appreciate you so much for being here. And
I appreciate being a guest.
Oh, thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you again, and everyone be safe.
Wear the mask.
That's right. Wear the mask.
Okay. Thank you all so much, and be sure to stay tuned.